Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips. Sorry for the late start, but Restream has been giving us gremlins lately. Twitch, I'm looking at you. So yeah, hopefully we're here. Hello everybody. Ugh. Kind of a woozy morning. Oh yeah, World Expo. That's right. No Luca today because he is a lucky going to the World Expo, Miniatures World Expo. Which we were going to go to, but then a pandemic happened and craziness, and then we decided not to go. Oh my, no sleep, huh, Carly? You and Bridget, she had all puppies to keep her up last night. She got almost 4 hours. All right, I'm going to mix up some olive green, guys. I'm not feeling great today, so we'll see how long this stream actually goes. Let's see here. We wanted lantern yellow. Remember we were doing all that cool mixing olive greens thing? And we were using pure black, lantern yellow, and I think we were using brilliant green. Let me try to find that brilliant green. There it is. This is a great green for those who are looking for a great green. Has better coverage than clear green, but it's that nice kind of green crayon, middle of the road, green. Can I use the word green anymore? David's least favorite color to put on a miniature. 7 puppies, Carly. Oh, did you not get the news yesterday, Carly? Were you not here for the pup date? No. Crone stuff, Pendrake. Just guts. Guts are unhappy today. I like green, Quindy. Oh, you were at work for the pup date. Yes, there are 7 puppers, 3 girls, 4 boys. And all different colors. 2 sables, 2 duals, and 3 blacks. 3 solid black. So now we get to watch them grow. Here, since you missed it, let me see here. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find the most recent. Well, first, I got this morning. A tiny pupper. This is Pink Girl. She looks black now, but she's going to actually be a dual. So she will have a saddle or a blanket in traditional German Shepherd fashion. That's how big she are, though. Yeah, Kerniko won the pool. Kerniko and Bridget both guessed the right. The Bridget being the breeder. You get to see them right now. Twisted Oma, hold on. First, we'll show you Happy Zammy with her puppies. Happy Zammy's with the puppies. Needs higher highlights. M. Fontana, thank you for the 33-month sub. All right. We get more subs if we show more puppy pics? Hold on. All right. So there's Mama Zammy sleeping with one of the boys. And this is Pink Girl, who I just showed curled up in Bridget's palm. Now, if you look really close, you can see the brown. See the brown? And the highlights will get higher, actually. This is just the first stage of highlights. You got to wait for the next several weeks. Then you'll get higher highlights. So as she grows, that brown color is going to extend from her paws and go onto her chest and face. And then as she gets more and more toward like 6 months and then a year old and then 2 years, she'll lighten up. And how dark she this is Pink is not Caliph, not Pike, Vex. So Pink, and then Caliph, who just does her own thing. She's like, I'm on my back, don't care. Caliph is a very dark sable. You can see that kind of ticking color on her. She's a brown sable. So she's got that color also will lighten a lot as we get toward 8 weeks of age. And then there is Purple Girl. Purple Girl is Pike, and she has a white chin and a little white spot on her chest. And she is solid black otherwise. Actually, the mama's doing most of the work at this age, Twisted Oma. Self-highlighting floofs, exactly. Yeah, so mama does most of the work for the first 2 weeks. You still get very little sleep because what you have to, like, you get woken up in the middle of the night because a puppy has lost mama, and you don't want mama to move and have a danger of stepping on the puppies, so you have to wake up and rescue the puppy and get the puppy back to mama. So you don't get much sleep for the first few days for sure, and then after that it depends on the litter. But otherwise, mama is cleaning the puppies and she's helping the puppies to eliminate, and she's generally keeping things clean around the whelping box and herself. Depending, some mamas are better than others, but Zammy is a pro. She's like really doing well. So yeah, after mama stops cleaning up after the puppies, that's when the work begins of constantly cleaning the whelping box, 4 times a day, pretty much. Once they start at 3.5 weeks, you're weaning them onto regular food, and then the weaning is in there also. As a breeder, you're also doing a lot of neurological stim exercises, and socialization begins pretty much like as soon as puppies can meet people, which is usually around 4 weeks. But you're still desensitizing them to different experiences even before they can meet people. So it's a lot of work. Alrighty, let's mix up our lantern yellow. I used 3 drops of 9407 and orangey yellow. If you use an orangey yellow instead of a greenish yellow, you end up with a warmer olive instead of a colder olive. Is essentially, so this kind of like warmish yellow undertone that it has is because we're using a warmer yellow. If you go back and look at the stream that we did these greens on for this model, I go through the whole thing of color mixing and show different olives and the way that different yellow pigments interact and all that kind of cool stuff. So if you are into that, go back and watch that stream. I think that was pretty much a color mixing class in olive greens. Yeah, I don't know if I have a fave right now. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Pink Girl, but it's so early, and I'm not seeing them, like, I'm only seeing them in select pictures. As a breeder, I feel like you do get a sense for the standout pup in the litter. Even from early days. Some breeders do, some breeders don't agree. But yeah, so as they grow, I will be watching them, and then of course I'll be doing their evaluation. Yeah, I hear you, Kuroniko. Life is pain today. For sure. Just a little bit wonky. Ah, yay, Quindy. Good, yay. All right, I need a mixing brush. Where did my mixing brush go? Oh, there it is. All right. So I needed just touches of black and green. So let's start with black. Thank you for that mixing video there, Quindy. All right, so when I say touches, usually what I'm doing is I'm kind of like, either I'm going to squeeze it out onto the cap, or I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit and just grab a touch of it on the end of the brush. Not a full, there we go. Not a full drop, though I can see that I maybe went a little bit too light, but that's okay. This is a good start. I have to put a touch of green in, and then I can add more black to darken it. So again, I'm just squeezing out, not even a full drop. That's going to make it more green, and then I can see when I compare it to my swatch that it's a little bit light. Can you see that? And if I really want to test it, because sometimes our paints dry a little darker, I'll put it next to there, put a little tiny bit next to here and see how it dries. But I can see that although it's close, it needs just a little bit more black. No, I just wanted an olive green. I wanted to actually just mix it myself because I thought it would be a cool exercise for you guys. Troll hide is actually darker than this. But we did an olive green exercise, and then I decided which olive green I wanted to use on our Centaur here. So, but is this color close to troll hide? Yeah, it's like a slightly lighter version. Like any olive is gonna be, like there are different types of olive because drab and, you know, more vibrant. And the more vibrant green olives you want to add a green, like brilliant green to. Yeah, well, take it steady, Kurnico, and, you know, we do what we can, right? I do what I can to mitigate my back issues and all the rest of it. So I'm going to just put a tiny touch of black. Little tiny touch, see? Tiny touch of black. I'm going to darken down this green. I think I'm pretty much where I need to be with that last bit. Remember that paint usually does dry darker than it looks. I'm going to put some water in that. Once I've nailed my color, I really don't want to like lose it because I didn't add enough water. Then I'm going to add another little bit right here. Just kind of fill it in. Obviously, it's really close. Hey, it looks perfectly fine. I was looking for like a kind of a brighter version of an alligator hide, so. All right, I think we are pretty good there. All right. I wanted to be able to mix my base colors so that I could create highlights. I mean, a touch is just a touch. It's less than a drop. If I needed a drop, I would use a drop. But a touch is like, you know, a quarter, half of a drop. But very little. It's not precise at that point, Pendrake. But in general, like, you guys know when I want a half drop, I'm usually just kind of squeezing it off against the side of the palette. So a touch is even less than a half drop, I would say. And then the point is that when you just start, you don't want to overshoot with black. Not ever. Because once you've got the black in there, you cannot take it out, and you're just going to have to add more yellow, and that gets out of hand quickly. So if you add just tiny little touches of black, just stick your brush onto it and add it, and then add it again and adjust. It's much better to build it back up because the black overwhelms color very, very fast. So once you've gone down that ashy road, then you cannot really correct. So that's why I just do little touches of black instead of a full drop or even a half drop, because black also has a gigantic impact on the model. Alrighty, so now we've got that. Now I can mix in, I believe I was using like a linen or yeah, it looks like maybe bleached linen. I just took it up in color, although I may have been using Osirian sand on this one. Let's just grab it. It's never wrong to grab a yellowish white for highlighting green. Actually, those who noted my my PDF, Patreon PDF hit yesterday, the $5 one. I'm talking about mixing highlights. And the only reason that I wouldn't use a more yellowy green or a yellowy white for this, although Osirian sand is one of the options that I give that is a good base, you know, you don't have to mix it yourself color for highlighting. But since this is already so yellow, I wouldn't use a more yellowy white. I'm just going to add in one drop and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's about what we had before. So then we've got this is a very light color. So to use this, either I want to thin it down or I want to add in just a little bit more of our base color here, maybe both. For these scales, I really didn't, they're not big enough to go into huge depth, but you do want, what I'm doing is kind of edge highlighting the top of the biggest ones to show light. Yeah, this has just been, other than the puppies being born and there being enough puppies for me, I feel like I'm karmically paying for healthy puppies at this point. Because my car died yesterday, or Monday. My phone is dying. Pretty much like all of the emergencies. My registration renewal didn't go through, so I actually have to drag David's car down to the DMV to try to like get my sticker. It's like, yeah, it's like everything bad. And then my body has just been acting up lately. So it's like everything is like jumped. Everything is pounced. Yeah, and this is well, I am missing walnut. There it is. I'm not like in the money necessarily either. So like a car repair plus a new phone is just like making me wince. Because I have to, the car is not drivable. So to get it diagnosed at all, I need to pay to get it towed to the dealer. Or, well, the dealer's the only mechanic in the area I trust right now. Because I haven't really looked around for other mechanics. Hey, Karu. Thank you for the tiny raid. But yeah, so it's just been kind of rough. Like, puppies are the only upside right now. Plus the stress of the end of the month Patreon stuff, because I've been, I had a lot of disruption this month between my family trip and my birthday and all the rest of it. Disruption always puts a monkey wrench in, and I've got a lot to get done. So I've been working on stuff, but now I need to dig down and finish everything. Yeah. Everything in your favor is against you. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I just like to think that I was karmically paying for Bridget to not have to do a C-section on her litter and to get my 3 girls, right? I'm okay with that. Like, all right. You know, the car issues will pass. It's the silly thing is that, like, when do I drive these days? I work from home. We could probably do without the extra car, to be absolutely fair. If you weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Ah, dear. I can't say that. I have been very lucky. I'm very lucky in my guy and David. Like, I'm very lucky to have this house. I'm very lucky to still be kicking around. You know, I'm constantly reminding myself that I'm lucky that surgery fixed my issues back, you know, a few years ago. At least it mostly temporarily, you know. It got me stable. How about that? You know, so there's a lot. There is an awful lot in my life to be grateful for. And plus, I get to, like, make a living, like, doing this stuff on the Patreon and streaming for you guys. Like, for F's sake, that's pretty lucky. But every once in a while, I feel like, you know, I'll pay for that luck here or there. Thank you for the link. Yep. And speaking of that Patreon, like, we're past 3.5 years of Patreon now. And yeah, I just did a PDF on mixing your own highlights for those who are, you know. And this can help. It's not only, guys, that for the people that are kind of sick of, like, just reaching for a lighter blue to highlight a darker blue. But it's also for people that maybe aren't comfortable doing that. Like, because different blues can have different pigments in them. And so not every lighter blue is going to be a good highlight for every darker blue and stuff like that. And people sometimes understand that because they try and then it doesn't look good. And so for those people who aren't sure which lighter green to choose to highlight a darker green and have it look, you know, go well together, I mean, just learn to mix your highlights and you'll never have a problem. Like, it's just really, like easy to learn to add like a touch of yellow and some white, or, you know, even to do some of the more interesting lighting. Like in the PDF, I show my turtle who I'm highlighting with a blue-white light. So stuff like that. So it can actually be a better choice for people who aren't sure what colors to use. Obviously, the triad system in MSP saves you those decisions somewhat. But even some of those triads are better with mixing. So I'm just doing little bits. Happy anniversary. That's funny, Valandar. July. Yep. Yeah, we're going downtown to a party. One of David's friends. His oldest friend, I think, is having a party. So we'll go down for that. Going to the city a lot these days. Because we have plays, lots of plays. The theater season has started in San Francisco, and we have tickets to a lot. All right, so we're just like doing a little bit of edge highlighting here. You can see how it's just a little bit, but it really brings out the shapes of those little scales. And if you find that you've lost some of the shadows here, you can absolutely take your brown liner or your walnut and put a few lines in where you see the scales kind of running together. That way you're putting in a shadow and a highlight. On things that are this small, like these scales, all you really need is a midtone, a shadow, and one highlight. It'll look pretty good when you're dealing with little stuff like this. This is from the Greek Odyssey set in Bones 5. So he's part of a box crew. Though eventually he may be released individually. He's pretty cool. However, the stuff that we talk about with the painting of the horse parts is, of course, useful in painting any horse or centaur. I like this guy because he's big. He's big like I think a centaur should be. And his torso is in scale with his horse bits, which I also think should be a thing. Now, when we get up here, we don't so much have the scale texture because we've got these the bronze or brass hammered metal over the top of the green. So we're just going to highlight the green normally. But let's finish up some of our scale work here. Now that we really have lost a lot of the dark lines in between the scales down here. Yeah, I like him a lot too, Quindy. I always like centaurs, so it's cool to have an excuse to paint one. Oh, if we're going to a 4th of July party, I need to make deviled eggs. I need to go get some more eggs. I am renowned for my deviled eggs. So just putting little, again, dark lines, kind of refilling in things that I lost. That's funny. Well, you know, to each their own. You just made a good choice out the gate, Twisted Oma. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna do some of this dark lining just to bring out a few scales. Now under the arm here, I'm gonna actually put a dark shadow in. Like I'm gonna take my walnut, thin it down, and put more of a dark shadow just all under this whole thing. Big blob. See that big blob of dark? Then I'm going to grab my brush and get it a little damp with water, and then I'm going to blend in the edges of that. And having that shadow means that, which is a logical shadow because that arm is there. You can see that shadow. You can see a little of the green back in there. But it is in shadow. It should be with the arm right there. So that's nice. It also saves us. We don't want to highlight over there. So I'm going crazy with puppy training books, guys. It's kind of cool. Like when I was a kid, I was thinking about this the other day. When I was a kid, I was on our 4-H dog training project. We had a local dog trainer who liked to teach kids, and so she did a dog project for our 4-H. So I was introduced to dog training from a very young age. I was terrible at it at that age because kids, limited attention span, and but I just remember how back in those days, and this just shows you how far the understanding of dog psychology and dog development has come. But back in those days, they taught you that a puppy couldn't learn stay until they were 6 months old. And nowadays, they're teaching puppies, you want to teach your puppy so much in the first 4 months. It's like total reverse. Right, Inara. Yeah. Sometimes, he's a good man. He just we weren't right for each other. We're both happier now. So that's the important thing. All right, so we've got that nice scale texture now in the front, which really makes a big difference in how good that looks. Nice. Yeah, Allison. You're not kidding. We'll blame you. Are you offering to take the Ron Hawkins hit for this one? Then in the role of Ron Hawkins, who everyone blames for everything at Reaper, it will be Allison. I don't know. I can't complain too much. We got the element the day that we picked up Kiri from the airport. My little Kiri dog. And the elements was still going up until now, and didn't really has almost never given me trouble. Like, really a good car. So really can't complain if it's having old age issues. It's probably a belt or something. I have no idea. I hope it's not just like a big engine trouble, or we really are just going to trash it. I mean, I wanted a new car eventually, don't get me wrong. I was kind of waiting for the electric vehicles to get a little more affordable. And for some of my favorite car companies to embrace them. But, yeah, I just wasn't looking to drop like 20 grand on a car right now, that's for sure. Or more. Because now it's like cars are scarce. Oh, well. Oh, no problem, Trojan. Thank you. Kuranico. Oh, boy. I love you. Yeah, but I don't really do a lot, Grey Wolf. Like, people still do long road trips with EVs. Like, you have to, there are websites that will hook you up with stuff. But I don't really do a lot. Like, I guess with the puppy, I may be doing some longer road trips. But, I mean, I almost probably should just get a hybrid at this point. Have a little bit of both worlds, maybe. But I tend to like get a car and keep it for over 10 years, so I don't want to choose lightly. And I mean, we still have David. David still has his Honda Fit, is slightly younger than my Element. There we go. So a little bit of highlights just here on the chest, guys, to bring that out. I'm going to edge highlight. I'm going to get the top for sure here, but I may just get a little highlight on the bottom. And I'm probably going to bring this highlight up a little more up on top. Yeah, it takes a lot more planning, for sure. Yeah, I did a lot of research on it, but I really do like the idea of shifting away from the old gas guzzlers. So I'll keep looking. I don't know. Like I said, until I know what's wrong with the car and how much it's going to cost. The Element actually has a fair Blue Book value still, because since the model was canceled, but it was popular in some circles, there's still demand for that car. So my trade-in value, it was really funny, but my trade-in value was actually better than my ex-husband's for his car that he bought like 5 years ago. And my car is really old. Yeah, I haven't even had to, like, yeah, that's about what I've gotten too. I've gotten only one battery though, I think. Well, maybe two. I just got another. That's true. I did get two. My car's up over 200,000 miles though, because we did use it for dog road trips across the country. Dog show trips. With this new puppy, I don't think we'll be doing dog shows. We might do one. But she'll probably have floppy ears, so she won't be able to show. Alrighty. So we've got some highlights. I did a tiny bit of edge highlighting down here along the bottom, so that brings that up nicely. Yeah. Yeah, David's is I think David's is a 2009 or 2010 Honda Fit, Quindy. Yeah, that's why I was wanting to wait on the electric car. I was going to wait till the tech got a little bit cheaper. But then if it's like, I was hoping my car would last another, 3 years at least. And if that's not going to happen, now I have to rethink my goals. All right, so I've got a little bit of green on the back here to highlight. But there isn't a lot of... there isn't a lot of green on this spiral here. It's all like bronze. Never ever die, Quindy. I feel it. Yeah, I don't know. There might be a place for a little tiny bit touch of green here. I would kind of like a little bit of green on this part of the model. And I may just end up making the wrap here green instead of red. Although I was trying to avoid that because it's right up against the green. Although it really isn't. Like, it only is if you're looking at it from this angle. Like that angle. So I just have to question. I'm leaning toward repainting this green though. Maybe I will. I can always repaint it again. Nope. I mean, if you got the pup date yesterday, then you pretty much have the news, Nomad Zeke. Everybody is doing well. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it green, guys. I'm going to redo it green and see if I like it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, David was really sad too because he really loves his Fit. And I love my Element, and of course they discontinued that. So I'm terribly sad. That's why I was like that, the Element will be given up over they'll have to pry it out of my cold dead hands, yeah. But I am willing to consider another car. I mean, I don't have 4 big dogs anymore. that I have to cram into an element. So let's just get this olive painted over the top of this red. But yeah, I'm kind of grumpy at Honda for discontinuing our two favorite cars. The element is just so darn easy with the plastic interior. Like, it's so easy to clean. It's a great dog car. And it carries a lot of stuff, which I like. I like a bigger car. David was looking at replacing his Fit with an SUV. I don't know. We might become a one-car household. Like, honestly, I use the car once a week to go to the grocery store, and that is it. Like, yeah. No, you shouldn't know the first time, Allison. Things change. Like, when I first planned this color composition, I thought this bracer had a lot of green on it, like that bracer does. But then I realized this bracer doesn't have really any green on it unless I artificially introduce it. So I'm missing a color composition thing here. Like, I'm missing a spot of green because I want my green to be spaced out around the model. So it's a color composition decision. And you're not always going to get that right in the beginning. You're not always going to understand that. Even once you base coat the model, you're going to see a hole. Most of the time. I mean, that's what we just did on Mage Lit yesterday. Right? I was waiting to see before I painted these areas up here. And I'm still waiting to see on the gems. But I was waiting to see what things would fall into place. And I could have painted those gems and then maybe ended up changing them. But instead I decided to wait until I had everything together and then make my decision. And if I do that, I find that I do make better decisions about color. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think so, Henrik. I think we're fine. I don't know. I mean, I have the mindset that I really want to go electric. Like, I really, really do. I believe in it. So I'm excited that electric cars are, like, I hate to say it, but I really like the fact that Ford did that electric 150, F-150. I'm like, go Ford! Gigantic pickup truck. I gotta say, Cheryl Storm rented one of those for a ReaperCon once, just to, as an additional haul stuff around vehicle. And that thing was the most fun to drive. Oh my god. Hey, Babel, how's it going? Yeah, you can. We're expecting the puppy to fit just fine in the Fit. That said, David's mom is nervous about the fact that he drives such a small car, and she wishes he would get a bigger car. And I like bigger cars, so I'm not going to actually, speak against it. All right, I'm going to actually use walnut and darken in all of these little rivets that are holding this leather wrapping in place, these little nails. Yeah, the new one is about mixing colors for highlights, Babel. Normally those hit around the middle of the month, but I have my my trip to see my parents and my niece at the middle of the month, so everything got kind of pushed. Alrighty. Got our little nails in there. Let's see if I've got a couple nails on the back here. There. Now let's highlight that green. Yeah, my Element has a surprising amount of get up and go for a little engine and a big box. So on the leather, we can kind of weather the edges by using a horizontal stroke to kind of break up where the leather would be wearing. The first thing I think I'm going to do is just put a generalized highlight along the top, and then I'm going to concentrate more on picking out those edges. Ha! Miata. That's the car that Zach had when Leo tried to stick his front end into it and couldn't get his back end in and looked terribly confused. The Miata. Only if you have a small dog. I am taking Monday off for the 4th. Yes. Thanks for asking, Turgeon. I am. It's Reaper's birthday, too. So it being Reaper's birthday and the 4th of July, we are taking the day off because we have that party to go to. So now I want to hit like more of the edges of the wraps to make them kind of stand out. Oh, I didn't know they made a sport variant of the Fit. Interesting. Oh, the Mustang is a big, heavy car. I had a friend with one of those suckers. It had a lot of power, but it also had a lot of weight. Oh, I missed a rivet. Oh, you prefer stick. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I imagine the manual transmission gives you a lot more power. At least to get up and go. Targeted power. So just a little bit of highlighting. Just to make that look better. Let's get out. Yeah. That's maybe a little bit too. Oh, interesting. The auto or manual. The last bigger car that I tried that I really liked was Nissan Pathfinder. It was my loaner car when my car got hit at ReaperCon and had to go into the body shop. Really liked that car. Still like it. I like my mom's Subaru though too, so. Alright, I will need to do some attention to the back here. It's underneath, but I still want to line those wraps. It's in shadow, so we don't have to do much of a highlight at all though back there. So just a little bit of attention, a little bit of lines there. Then we'll do just a tiny bit of highlighting toward the top of that. Oh, interesting. So the Sport That's funny. Kind of maybe like the more souped up Civics that people like. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit of highlighting along the top parts here. And then we'll have a little bit of detailing and we're good. Just a little. Doesn't need much. It's on the backside. Backside, inside, not a lot of light hitting there. But you just want a little bit because you want to see details. There. There we go. I am not into cars either. I am only into cars in as much as, is this comfortable? Will it hold at least one large dog, preferably two, just in case? Is it easy to clean? Like, I actually ask those questions before I even ask what's the gas mileage. Also, is the steering wheel not 50 miles away from the driver's seat because I have short little arms? Cursed. All right, so grabbing, I'm going to put some water in my highlight because it's gotten pretty thick at this point. We just have that other bracer to work on there, and we'll have our green looking pretty good. So remember, once we get this guy done, we'll be starting on an elemental cyan, and depending on how the bust goes, if I keep working on the bust, then, you know, when the bust is done, we'll be starting a different elemental cyan. Cool, Quindy. Yeah, exactly. When you're tall, it does make a difference. That was part of why I liked the Honda Element, though, is that even Gene Van Horn, and you know he's really tall if you've met him at ReaperCon, but even Gene will fit comfortably in the backseat of the Element with clearance. Like, it's a really big, roomy box of a car. And our dogs could always, like, stand up in the car and not brush their heads on the ceiling. So, yeah, I do like a car that's bigger. Oh my god, a Corvette engine in the Volvo. Midwest dads for sure, Allison. That's funny, Cornico. Only if you're an orc, Cursed. Only if you're an orc. Otherwise, Blood Angels would win all of the Space Marine Rhino races. All right, a little bit. And again, I'm using kind of a stippled, kind of a streaky brush stroke on the edges of this because it's going to be a really worn, kind of beat up leather bracer. So I want to suggest that by not doing just a line highlight or a smooth blended highlight, I want it to be a little textured. You had to stuff a bug lips in it, huh? You must have unusual tastes in orcs. There's a lot of different orcs out there, that's for sure. So doing a bit of lining around the parts that are going to be brass or bronze. Making sure I don't lose that. No, that's not... Well, okay, it's fair if you're in Texas. There may be a Texas county that is the size of Scotland. But I think that the county I'm in California is quite a bit smaller than Scotland. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I should look it up. But I have driven in Scotland, or been driven in Scotland, so I like to think I have an idea of the size. All right, a little bit of highlight in the green here. Sometimes there's not much space between these little bronze squigglies for the extra green highlight. Do it when you can, otherwise don't sweat it. Well, the question now, Crows, is can you define your ideal orc? Because if you can't define your ideal orc, then it's not surprising you haven't found it. And if you can define it, then you must be looking for an exotic orc. Or maybe you're looking for something like, I like the Uruk-hai from Middle-earth, but they were too small. Like, that would be fair. I could see that. Because they were a small scale. There. Little bit of highlight, and we are good. Ah, the super windy roads make it seem bigger. I see. Including the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings. I thought those were pretty cool models, actually. I mean, like I said, they're tiny because they did that game in True 25, but I thought they were pretty good for orcs. Not overly tusked and ripped, but not over-exaggerated and not too cartoony, and no hunchbacks. There. Because I can understand how the very cartoony, like, GW orcs do not appeal to some people. Although I will say they're pretty fun to paint. So even though I'm not big into their anatomy, I like their big chonky style. I find them fun to paint. Alrighty, so we've got that green. We've got 20 minutes left. What will I do? I will mix the first highlight for the bronze. Let's see here. What do I want to play with? Maybe I don't want to play with lemon. Maybe I want to play with... Did I totally misplace that? Maybe. Oh, well, I'll add a little bit of sun yellow. Well, but that means that you do have an orc. Okay, you have found an orc that kind of fits your orc aesthetic. They're too expensive or they're the wrong size, right? Those are different things, but so you're mostly looking for a more humanoid, more threatening, more realistic orc. Is that correct? Because that's Uruk-hai, that's kind of their vibe. Very similar to... You just don't like orcs. Well, that's fair. If you don't like orcs, that's an entirely different thing from not being able to find your ideal orc. Like, that just implies that maybe you don't have an ideal orc. But that's fair. I never used to like orcs either, but now that companies are actually making like female, like half-orc models that don't suck, I've revamped that idea. I still don't like halflings. That's been like consistent throughout my entire existence. Like, I've never been, even though I really love The Hobbit, I've never been into halflings. Yep, sounds like Rose just wants elves. Yep. Fair assessment. Let's see here. I'm going to try a little bit of Osirian sand in this rich leather. I put a little bit of sun yellow in it. Well, if you're more of a dwarf, then that kind of explains why you wouldn't like orcs. All right, so I mixed up a little bit of rich leather with a tiny bit of sun yellow and a tiny bit of Osirian sand, not full drops at all, just to get a little bit of a highlight that I could deal with for the bronze. I had a mix of rain and sun when I was in Scotland. We were there in March or April. Alrighty. So I'm going to thin this down just a little because I added some white to it. Bronze in general is not as yellow as brass or gold. And I did put some red hints in it down here. I may have thinned it a little much, but I'm going to go with this and see. That big blank part of his helmet has been bugging me for a little while. I live unrelenting rain, yes. That's funny. So just a little bit of highlights along the lower edges, which are kind of flaring out in this helmet, and then the rounded area. Kind of picks it up just a little bit. Yeah, that's where I was. I was in Edinburgh. It's rich leather as the base in our, just like most of my gold tone metals, but the shadow is actually like ruddy leather there, and this color, as I mentioned, is rich leather plus a little bit, just a touch of sun yellow and a touch of Osirian sand, just to make it a little bit lighter. Just wanted a little bit of a highlight. Didn't want it to be too yellow. I'll be bringing this up more, of course. I feel like there's like more metal here, but it's not on the other side, so I feel a little weird that there's metal there, but I guess I should paint it. But yes, actually, for those who did not get the pup date, hold on, let me give you little tiny puppy pictures real quick. Purple girl is solid black with little white toes, snow paws, snow toes, and a white chin, and a little tiny white spot on her chest. That's Lavender Girl. That is Pike. This is Caliph. She's a sable. You can see the lighter color coming through on her body. She'll get lighter through the next several weeks. Yellow Girl. And she's the only one who doesn't have any white marking on her chest at all. And then Pink Girl is Vex, and she's a dual, so she will, you can see the little brown on her paws there. So that brown will grow to be on her chest and her face and her legs as she gets older. Hello, Bitman. Sorry, I was just showing puppy pictures. I get one of those puppies in 8 weeks or so. Ha, Quindy. So yeah, so let's get that helmet just a little bit more highlighted. For some reason it goes, maybe he just has a lopsided helmet. I mean, he's a centaur. He's pretty barbarous, so maybe he just liked it and he decided it didn't matter that it was a little lopsided. Maybe his brother made it and he didn't want to insult him by saying, "Can you make it straight, please?" So we're just getting into more of a bronze look there. Probably both, Bitman. Probably both. Though I've raised many puppies at this point, so hopefully the puppy won't get me too bad even during the teething phase. Little bit of a highlight, just bringing up some of those bronzy parts with their first highlight before I punch it up. The Centaur of Attention. Oh dear. I'm getting this little bit of a lighter, just a little bit of lighter color, and of course we'll work it up higher than this. But I don't want to, unlike with brass and gold, I don't want to go too yellow with my highlights. Keeping it a little bit more dull and a little bit more like I stare at there's downtown there's a shop that has little bronze statues that are based on like mythology and stuff in its window. It's like a little curio shop. So when I go walking down there, if I have a writing write club meeting, then I always look really close at the bronze and try to memorize the color palettes. It's pretty new bronze instead of old bronze, and we're definitely going with a more polished bronze on this guy, even though I'm going to give him cred and say he takes care of his armor because he's proud of it. Yes, dog talk, exactly. Yep, little baby puppies, born on Monday. 7 little sausages, puppy sausages. Although we call them Shiloh beans, they're Shiloh shepherds, so we call them Shiloh beans. And this morning it was really funny. I showed David the picture of Pink Girl that Bridget sent. Here. Where's the cute? There's the cute. And I showed him this picture of Pink Girl, and he said, they really do look like beans. Which was pretty hilarious. Alright, so just this color I'm just applying all over the top side. We're not really doing any NMM effects yet. We're actually kind of highlighting right now as if this was just a normal non-shiny color. Just because I want to get that first layer of lighter color in before I start punching it up. And I'll probably also, because this reddish color isn't really dark enough, I'll also darken the reddish shadow as we progress on this model. And yeah, there's no Luca today. No Miniatures Den to follow this show because he is traveling to the World Model Expo. The lucky dog. I'm hoping that the next one is in an interesting place. Maybe we'll go. Yeah, these will be around there. Red links. Cool, Wayne. Yeah, my old dog died about 1.5 years back, so it's time to get another puppy at this point, I have judged. And it will be my fiance's first dog ever, since his mom was allergic. They did not have a dog when he was growing up. He has never raised a puppy. He has never experienced the shark's teeth. Alright, so this axe has a lot of gobbledygook on it. I'm probably going to have to go in and touch up some of the gobbledygook. It's a little bit anyway. And the stuff on the chest. This is a really subtle highlight. But again, I just want to kind of get the first highlight to be a little bit more brownish. Bronze does not go up as yellow as brass and gold. All right, so that gives us at least our first kind of highlight on that stuff. Oh, and I need to do the spiral over here. Oh, and the little squigglies here. Squigglies! Alrighty, so that's got that highlighted. Now I just need the spiral over here. Okay. But yes, Purple Girl is the smallest, by the way. I think that Yellow Girl, Purple Girl Pike is the smallest, and then Yellow Girl Caliph is the second smallest, and the biggest is Grog. Fittingly, he's a big sable boy, although his littermates are starting to catch up to him now, Bridget said. But he's kind of monster. He was well over a pound at birth. Usually with Shiloh puppies, a pound is kind of average. Most of these puppies were around or just under a pound, which for a bigger litter is, there were 8 originally. That's about right. But every once in a while you get one of those monsters. And Grog is a monster. He's a monster puppy. Now, the size at birth and the size at 8 weeks even have no predictive correlation between eventual size as an adult. So if you ever go to a shelter or somebody who tells you, oh, well, that's the smallest puppy in the litter, it'll stay small, they're absolutely not correct. It may turn out that way, but it's not really indicative. The smallest litter, or the smallest puppy in Kiri's first litter, he was tiny. He was much, much smaller at birth than his sister and his brother. He ended up to be a 120-pound monster, so you really can't tell. That experience taught me you just really can't tell. It's all genetics from there. All right, I think I've got all that gobbledygook figured out there. There, and we got basic highlight down the front of that, so we managed to do that, and it is 11. I'm feeling a little bit better, so I can go a little longer, though I feel like there isn't a lot more I can do. I can try a secondary highlight and see. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing in our, it's all genetics from that point. Doesn't matter what they are now, but eventual size is gonna kick in and you can't see it. All right, tiny touch of yellow again. I don't want too much. I don't want it to go too yellow. I want it to stay a bit brown. That color right here. Then I'm going to drop some Osirian sand into it to kind of wash it out a bit. Yeah, exactly, Korniko. Yep. Yeah, so I never choose based on size. My puppy choice will be mostly temperament driven. Some temperament, some structure. Where did I put? I grabbed the wrong brush. Grr. Where did I put my brush? There it is. Bronze does go dark brown and then black. It often looks blue-black because it's reflecting the sky. Often when you see pictures of a very weathered, very dark brown statue. Grew. As I highlight this next highlight, I'm going to make it smaller and I'm going to focus on areas where I feel like the light would be picked up. So on the forehead, that's going to mean a round highlight, because the surface there is round. on these little little bits. You don't need a lot of highlight because they're really skinny. It's more on little bits of filigree like this. It's less about the actual realistic highlighting of them and more about alternating light and dark so that you can get kind of and get kind of the shiny metallic look if you alternate the lights and darks adequately. There we are. So mostly I'm doing a highlight on the bottom because it's bounce light. I'll do a white highlight up higher on these pieces, and I'm leaving shadows in between at various points because I want that alternating light and dark. But otherwise, I'm not paying a lot of attention to like what would realistic highlighting look like. I'm just kind of making them kind of like look shimmery. With a big solid mass like this down here, I could highlight it more in line with being a big mass of metal. And I can do that here as well because it's all bronze. But when you've got just little pieces or wiggly bits, then it's not as easy to do that. Some people still will, and it's probably more correct to do it that way. So more light here, and I'm concentrating on kind of a line down the front because this is a cylinder. And that looks good. And then I do need a little bit of highlight on the underside because of reflected light, or bounce light as we sometimes call it. I still want that shadow down there, and I kind of lost it here, so we need to reintroduce it. Don't have that color mixed up right now, so I may just do a little bit of thinned walnut to darken it down. I'll correct the color later. So, alrighty. We started a little late. I wanted to go a little late if my guts were up to it, and they did pretty well, so I'm just going to hit a little bit over here. Here we have much lighter area on top. So I am going to try to do these kind of in line with actual lighting. It's a little easier because this isn't at an odd angle like that one, where the chest is very flat against the light. So we've got a lot of the bronze at least kind of marked out there. Bring in that highlight there. Yeah, the Greek Odyssey set is cool. Thought about painting the female giant from that, but a lot of people I feel have already done her. So we'll see. Maybe some point I'll feel like it. Just not real inspired on her right now. Plus she's a big model, so she would take forever. Yeah, I mean, you can see my hand behind it. It always looks huge on screen, especially when I'm zooming in. There we are. So we're starting to see a little bit of a shiny effect there. There we go. I just don't like her enough, Pendrake. On Painting Big, I try to only paint stuff that I'm really psyched for. On my own stream, is what Pendrake is talking about. Speaking of which, I think I should be on Saturday. However, I will not be on the following Saturday because we have that's our trip to Seattle for David's mom's birthday. But yeah, this Saturday I should be running with the giant wolf. But yeah, my stream is mostly stuff that I'm painting for fun. And that model, she's cool and all, but she's not as cool as like all my big werewolves. I don't know about Friday. I don't think the 1st is a holiday. Monday is definitely the 4th. The 4th I am not streaming. But unless Quindy says otherwise, I am cool for streaming on the 1st. What say you, Quindy? So we got things kind of started out here. I think I will just do this last little bit and then we'll wrap. Yeah. Okay. So this stream at least should be on for the 1st. We will be taking a break on the 4th for our lovely 3-day weekend. And then I'm going to be gone like later that week. I have to let Quindy and Justin and John all know I will be gone for the David's mom's birthday. I think that's Thursday through Sunday. We'll be up in Seattle, hanging out. Alrighty. There we go. I think, oh, back, you have to do the butt. Can't forget the butt of the spear, that is. There. Then that side and this side. Alrighty, there we go. What we did today. We finished doing our olive green and bringing up highlights on it and highlighting the scales on our alligator stuff. And we even started our bronze and got like a step in on it. I need to stop and make a note of the paints that I used for the bronze and make a swatch. Bronze. Rich leather. Plus touches of sun yellow and white. And then I can take my mixie brush and do swatches of both of these guys. So that I have a reference. There we go. So we've got our colors. Thanks, Greeniko. Yeah, I mean, it's already calmed down a little bit from earlier. I don't know. Sometimes I just eat something, or I don't eat something, or I, just things aren't moving along as well. And, you know how it is. Sometimes the body just is like, eh. But I'll take a walk. It'll probably be okay. And yeah, at least we got our time in. We got our time in. We figured out some of our bronze, and that's cool. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow we will be at Mr. Brightness, the Wizard of Doom. We were figuring out like what colors things needed to be, and I was debating various things. But yeah. So we're moving right along on this dude. We'll probably get his purple in. We'll get his parchment and scrolls down here in. Yeah, we're going to keep working on Mr. Mage. So far, I'm pretty happy with how his color scheme is going to turn out. Although I believe we did do it. No, we did it right. That's good. I think. I hope. Yes, we're good. That's right. I painted it orange down below, and then I had to go back and paint it purple. Sometimes. Yes, no Luca today, and y'all have a great night. Tomorrow we'll be back with Mr. Wizard, and I hope you all have a lovely day. All right? See you then.